Okay, I'm back. I'm still a little under the weather. Weather. Hey, sometimes it's better weather. I digress. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel once again. I am Robert Storms. As always, if you're finding me for the very first time, please be sure to click that like and subscribe button. If I sound a little different, it's because I have been under the weather lately. I haven't been feeling well. That's why I haven't been doing a lot of content this week on the channel. But it is the season finale of The Mandalorian, so we have to talk about this shit. So, this is going to have spoilers, so look, if you haven't seen the episode, you shouldn't be watching a review on the episode in the first place, but whatever, do your own thing. Ain't I right, Jimmy? So, yeah, Mandalorian Season 2 finale. I woke up this morning to a lot of text messages from people going, oh my god, this episode, oh my god, this episode. So I went in with very, very high expectations, which you should never do. You should never go in with very high expectations. In answer to this, yes, go in with high expectations. Now, for the most part, this episode was pretty mediocre. Like, it was good, right? Like, mostly every episode of The Mandalorian, except for like maybe the first 2 episodes of this season, has been really, really good. This was picking up, this was taking the same thing. We had, Mando fight Gideon, lightsaber duel. The lightsaber duel between Gideon and Mando was actually better than anything we got in Rise of Skywalker. And we had that. We had Bo-Katan show back up. So we had a lot of great stuff in this episode. But for the most part, it felt like, oh, this is just a really good episode. It wasn't until the last 5 to 10 minutes of this episode when shit went down. Shit went way down. Shit went so far down. The last 10 minutes of this episode completely negates anything from the sequel trilogy. It's like, regardless, and I'm a fan of the sequel trilogy. Well, I'm a fan of episodes 7 and 8. But, I'm not one of those people that harp on it going, oh man, this is stupid, this ain't what we wanted. The last 10 minutes of this episode, this is the sequel to George Lucas's trilogy. This is the actual sequel trilogy, and it just got batshit insane because Luke fucking Skywalker showed up, man. It was like, oh my god. Soon they're like, an X-Wing just pulled in. I'm like, oh fuck, an X-Wing. Shit's about to go down. And I love how they redid the Darth Vader hall scene from Rogue One, but this time it was Luke doing it, and he's just going down the fucking hallway, lighting up these fucking dark, I think they're called dark troopers. The motherfucker just lighting them up, bomb, crushing the motherfucker, just dude, he was straight lighting bitches up, right? And the way he was swinging his lightsaber, it felt very much like Anakin and prequel style lightsaber use. One of my biggest negatives about the sequel trilogy is the lightsaber duels are all boring. It's just like, and I understand in the original trilogy, George Lucas had that very slow-paced samurai style sword style. It wasn't until they added Kendo and stuff like that in the prequels where the pace got much faster. But Luke that showed up in this episode, he was just like he was quick, man. It's like he's finally learning how to become an actual Jedi lightsaber swordsmaster. So when we get to the sequel trilogy, it just makes it even more frustrating that the lightsaber duels just are awful. But we get into this episode, and it was pretty much just a rescue mission. It was good. I liked the fight between Gideon and stuff. Then there was some tension with Bo-Katan and the Darksaber. Don't know how that's going to play out next season. But when Luke Skywalker showed up, the entire episode changed. And the whole time you see him in his hood, and you're like, oh, it's going to be Sebastian Stan. And when he took his hood off, it was Luke Skywalker. It looked like Luke Skywalker. I'm like, what kind of sorcery force fuckery are they doing here? Is this Sebastian Stan? Is this Mark Hamill? Is this CGI? I don't know, right? So I actually watched the end credits. It was Mark Hamill. So apparently they just did some de-aging, which is phenomenal because it looks so good. The de-aging in this looked better than the de-aging in Rise of Skywalker. I know I'm going to harp on Rise of Skywalker a lot because it sucked. Yeah, when Luke was training with Leia and Rise of Skywalker, the de-aging looked awful. De-aging in this looked good. I'm like, dude, is this like a mix-up of CGI and Sebastian Stan? Like, I don't know, right? But it was Mark Hamill. It was like all like CGI de-aging, and it looked fantastic. It never even looked bad. I'm going to go back and watch the last 10 minutes of this episode again just to watch that again. And when Baby Yoda, or I should call Grogu, whatever, Prego. It's a sauce. But, yeah, when he's like, you can go with him now. Dude, I cried. I teared up when Baby Yoda and Mando were saying goodbye, and he took his helmet off, and he just watched him as him and Luke Skywalker goes. Oh, I teared up. Something I didn't do in any of the sequel trilogy movies, but I teared up in the last 5 minutes of this episode. It broke my heart to watch Mando see this little guy that he fell in love with, that's like a kid to him, just leave. It was heartbreaking. And then he's like, I promise I'll see. I just started tearing up so badly. And then when R2 showed up, I was like, R2, and it gives me hope. The last 10 minutes of this episode gave me hope, because with all the announcements of the new Star Wars spinoff shows, will we get that scene with Ahsoka and Luke saying, your father was a good man, and then Luke saying, no, he redeemed himself, and right, I want to see, you see the meme going around, where Ahsoka's like, yeah, he mean everything to me, and then she's like, no, he came back to the light. Like, I want to see that interaction with Ahsoka and Luke, and I don't care if it's 5 or 10 minutes, I want to see that, because it would mean the world to Star Wars fans, and it would connect so many different dots. And just as a fan of Luke Skywalker as a kid, I was a fan of Luke Skywalker. I'm not the biggest Luke Skywalker fan like everybody else is. I much prefer like Hugh McGregor's Obi-Wan. But I loved Luke Skywalker as a kid. I was an 80s kid, so Luke Skywalker is who I looked up to. Seeing that green lightsaber pop out and him in that black cloak and just wrecking havoc like Vader did in Rogue One, that's what we wanted to see in the sequel trilogy. We didn't even get anything close to that. And it really shows the misfire of what Lucasfilm did and the misconnect that they have with fans, where I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau get that. They understand what makes Star Wars and what makes fans want to be fans of Star Wars. It isn't about having public agendas or politics or trying to insert what you think Star Wars is. It's about knowing what Star Wars is, what the fans want, and try to deliver that, and Mandalorian, since episode 1, has delivered that. And even with the episodes that were missteps, there's episodes like this, like the first Bo-Katan episode, the Boba Fett episode, the Ahsoka episode, even the season finale and stuff of last season, there are moments in this that is like, this is Star Wars. And this together, to me, season 1, season 2, if we get a solid season 3, then those 3 seasons would be my sequel trilogy. That is what I wanted to see from Star Wars. And that's not a slight on the sequel trilogy itself, because I liked a lot of stuff in Force Awakens. I liked a lot of stuff in Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker was just a train wreck of a film that does not feel like Star Wars to me. It very much feels like a movie made by committee, and it felt like they didn't know what the characters, they didn't know where they were going, where it looks very clearly like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni knows where these characters are going, know where they want to tell this story, and that's not the case for the sequel trilogy. And you can see that there was no plan. Game plan Mandalorian, sequel trilogy, nothing. And you can see where that problem is. That's what happens when you get these high-profile filmmakers come in and they want to do things their way instead of actually following the universe that you built already. So anyway, Mandalorian season 2 finale. Phenomenal. I can't believe I got through this whole review because I feel like monkey shit. Now I'm debating if I'm going to call in for my day job or try to go there and suffer through it, or just go back to bed because I feel like shit. Mandalorian season 2 is fantastic, people. Great season. Oh, fantastic season. Mwah. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and big bravo to Peyton Reed, who directed this episode. Peyton Reed, loved the first Ant-Man. I really wanted him to direct the new Fantastic Four. Peyton Reed is a very, very talented director, and he's another one I think that probably understands Star Wars. So just massive round of applause to everyone who directed an episode this year. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and thank you, Kathleen Kennedy. I really, really want to thank you for keeping your fucking nose out of the show because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Yes, thank you. And thank you to the higher-ups for letting Kathleen Kennedy stay away from the show because she doesn't know what she's doing. So, yes, when Kathleen Kennedy is not involved, we get good shit. So, anyway, guys, just keep her name on the producer post. That's fine. She can get credit. We all know that she didn't do anything. Until next time, guys, as always, Robert Storms, that's my opinion. Later.